Welcome to The Blitz, a podcast from Coram Deo Church. The Blitz is all about tackling tough topics head-on at full speed. Are you ready?
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever time of the day it is that you happen to be checking out this podcast. My name is John, lead pastor of Coram Deo Church, and I'm your host again today. And let me just start off by saying it has been a while. I think the last episode of The Blitz that we dropped was maybe the end of June, early July, maybe something like that. It's been a little bit of been a while since we've done this, and the reason for that is that in the summer we try and dial things back. We push pretty hard throughout the whole year, but summer is definitely a little bit of a downtime for us. We try to recoup and plan for the next season, and then as we enter into September, everything starts picking up, and so here we are about the middle of September. And things are picking up, and we're starting to blitz back up. So thanks for being patient and hanging out and waiting, and thanks for coming back, and hoping for a fun year full of helpful topics and discussions. So welcome back. This morning we're going to talk about, or I guess whenever you're listening to this, we're going to talk about the value or the idea of being gentle, okay? And let me tell you where this is coming from, and you probably have heard this and picked up of it in different ways, but there's a lot of people that are right now contending that the church and pastors need to be gentle in the way that they engage ideologies and culture, okay? Now, on the surface, initially, it's really hard to argue with that, right? Because we have commands in Scripture regarding being gentle. When the Apostle Paul writes to Timothy, he says that an elder must be not violent, but be gentle and not quarrelsome. Again, in Titus, he says that he is to avoid quarreling and to be gentle. And James tells us that wisdom that comes from God produces peace and also gentleness. So you go, okay, how do you argue with that? But I think we have to push a little bit further to really get to the heart of the issue, because so many of the people who are arguing for gentleness aren't just arguing for gentleness. It's as if they want to add a sixth sola to the Reformation, and that would be sola gentle, okay? That it is the right response. The only right response in any situation is simply to be gentle. So let me just deal with that a little bit. Was it right for Christ to go into to the temple, to clear it, to turn over the tables, and to crack the whip? Was that right, or should he have been more gentle? What about David? David, before he's king, is the one who confronts Goliath, and he not only kills Goliath, he then cuts his head off and is commended for doing so. Should David have been more gentle? And when you ask these questions, it starts to reveal the truth, and that is that we do need to be gentle in times that require us to be gentle, but not all times require us to be gentle, right? If I'm dealing when my kids were younger, if I'm dealing with them and confronting them with sin or whatever, like, it's appropriate to be gentle. If you're dealing with somebody who's got a broken spirit and is just suffering, like, you want to be gentle. But it's not always the right time to be gentle. For example, if somebody breaks into my house at night, right, while my family is sleeping, and I get up and I confront them in our living room, that is not the right time to be gentle. If I act in a way that is gentle in that moment, right, I'm most likely violating commands to love my wife and to protect and guard my family, right? That's not the right time to be gentle. So yes, we need to be gentle in moments that require us to be gentle, but there are clearly moments in life Okay, David and Goliath would be one of them. Christ in the temple would be another one of them. And also when Jesus said some very strong attacking things to his critics at times, right? That was a moment in which gentleness was not the appropriate response. Now, there are times where we do see Jesus responding to people in a manner that is very gentle. But the point is that not every situation requires a gentle response. And in fact, there are situations which I just brought up. The guy breaks into your house in the middle of the night. You see somebody being beat up on the sidewalk, right? Your response in that moment should not be gentle in nature. Love would necessitate that you do not treat the intruder gently. Okay, so what I'm trying to say and push back is that the issue is not that we should never be gentle. The issue is that we need to respond appropriately based on the situation. Okay, and this is where I think this helps to highlight what's actually going on. The difference between people who are saying you just need to be gentle, and others like myself and others who are saying, you know what, this is not the right time to be gentle. The difference is not that some believe that you should be gentle and others believe that you should not be gentle. That is categorically not the issue. The issue is that we have a very different read on what's happening culturally. Okay? The difference is that we have a very different read on what is happening culturally. There are a number of people who look at culture and the things that are going on, things that are happening politically, things that are happening culturally, things that are happening in schools, things that are happening really with the LGBTQ revolution that's taking place. They look at all of that and say the only way for the church to respond to that is with gentleness. And when you say that we should only respond with gentleness, you're saying something about the nature of the movement. You're saying something about the nature of the issue. And by saying that we should only respond with gentleness is to say that this is not a dangerous moment. It's not a moment that requires protection and going to war, if you will, in terms of ideas and ideologies. The person who says we should only be gentle looks at the cultural climate and the landscape and says, this is not dangerous. Because danger requires something other than gentleness. Right? If my family's in danger, I'm not going to be gentle to the object, the thing, or the person that is putting my family in danger. I want to be gentle with my family, but I am not going to be gentle with the intruder who threatens my family. And so a lot of what's happening between those who say gentle only and others who say, no, sometimes we have to be intentional. We have to go after these things. The difference is not that some people think you should be gentle and others think you should not. The difference is that we are reading the culture differently. So on the one hand, you have people who look at what's happening politically, things that are happening in our state, with the diminishing, if not the outright destruction of family and rights. In Washington right now, there is a bill that has gone through, which basically says if you have a child that has run away from home and that child has run away from home because that child is identifying as LGBTQ plus whatever and has pronouns or wants to express themselves in a particular way, and the household, the home, is not supportive of that, the state can house that person against the wishes of the family, in fact, without notifying the family at all, and can help to provide what they call health care, which according to the bill is either gender reassignment or it is abortion. The state can provide that against the will of the family or without even the knowledge of the family. So those are some of the things that are actually happening in our state. I just heard this earlier this week on the briefing with Al Mohler that the state of California, it's somewhere, I don't know if it's been passed into law or it's about to pass into law, but what it basically does is says if a child wants to identify as whatever, and the parents are not affirming of that identity, that they can be deemed by the state not qualified to be parents. It's crazy. I just saw, there was a news article yesterday I saw online, and it was claiming that parents do not have the right to know what gender their children identify as. That is a privilege and not a right. Okay, there is a movement, right? It is happening. Please open your eyes and realize this. That is sexually mutilating young children, right? We're talking about children, 8 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old, 12 years old, right? There are people making arguments that this is good and this is right and this is what we are supposed to do. And to oppose this ideology is just, white supremacy or Christian nationalism or whatever term they want to throw at it. And what you have to understand is that what we are facing in this moment is evil. It is evil. And to respond to evil like that in a gentle nature is to put, so to speak, the family at risk, right? When the intruder comes into my house and I am gentle, I'm putting my family at risk. When we as Christians engage these ideologies and we accept this posture of being gentle, and by that typically means, right, you don't talk about these sins, you don't call these things out, you don't address them, you don't talk about homosexuality, you don't talk about gender reassignment, you don't talk about queer theory, you don't talk about pedophilia, you don't talk about any of these things, just don't talk about them. When we adopt that and we embrace that, we are actually putting the family in harm. And in fact, when pastors do this, right, they are proving themselves to be unworthy shepherds. When a shepherd sees a wolf, right, that shepherd needs to protect the flock and destroy the wolf, right? That is just plain as day. That's the type of imagery that Jesus speaks. When a shepherd is gentle towards the wolf, they are betraying the flock. To be gentle in that situation is to betray. Now, when the shepherd is dealing with the flock and people are working through things and they're hurting and they're dealing with sin and all that stuff, yes, be gentle. But for the love of God, don't be gentle with the wolf. Make sure that the church knows where the wolves are at, that knows what the wolves do, what the wolves believe, how the wolves act, what their plan is, what their strategy is. You have to equip the church for that. The last thing that the flock needs is for a shepherd to be gentle with the wolf. No, shepherds, that's not what we do, okay? So much of the confusion or the debate or discussion about gentle, it's the issue is not this, that Christians should never be gentle, right? The issue is this, that we have to respond, or part of our response is based on the threat that we are facing. And the things that we are facing today culturally and even in our own community, okay, these things are real threats. They're evil. We're talking about sexually mutilating children. And if you want to respond to the people who are doing that and who are promoting this in a gentle way, I think you are out of touch. I think you're out of line. And I think that's actually a really dangerous thing to propose. So to sum this up, what a way to enter back into the Blitz. You know what? We need to be gentle, and there are times that demand that we be gentle. With the person in the church who is dealing with temptation and sin, like we need to be gracious and we need to be gentle with that person. But for the person who is promoting a hurtful, harmful, demonic, unbiblical, evil ideology, that is not the time or the place to be gentle. That is the time to speak truthfully and boldly in love and protection for the flock, right? Because that is our first call. So it's not gentle, not gentle. That's not the debate. It's when should we be gentle, and is this a moment, and is this particular moment with the ideologies that are circulating around, is this the right moment to be gentle with that stuff? And I would say emphatically, no. This is a real danger. This is a real threat. People are being harmed. This is not the place that we should be gentle. All right, what a way to start. Here we go. Hope you enjoyed this time. I hope it was helpful. I hope that was clarifying. If not, as always, please feel free to ask some questions. And until next time, take care. See ya.